You didn't put this here, did you?
No, I just noticed it here, but I
I think someone left it for you.
You know?
I don't know why I came in this morning. I was sitting here by your seat.
Okay, Chaim Davins in the author, he died in the Shiur.
That's what they told me.
What is it? Look. Chaim Stoppelman.
Understanding the names of the
Look at the topic.
I only go through celebration though, he doesn't discuss,
Blueprints and braces, so what?
so you always
Understanding the names of the parshias.
Oh, for you.
right.
81 to 81 to 91.
He doesn't discuss
Three.
Parshat Tzav, which,
40.
Parshat. So you know that it's Tzav.
Oh, so you know what? I left my phone in that little thing there.
Okay.
341, 81, 431, 731, 736, 20, 6. Thank you. Somebody else goes in, you didn't do that?
Who?
Okay, it's fine. I had that other thing there also.
You want that too?
That's what I'll get it later. I don't need it right now. I don't need it right now, thank you. What is that? Okay, Ruby. 200. 1 plus. 858. 58. Shimon is 340. 340. And that's 76. 76. 76. And 50. Ridiculous. I know they did wrong. 281 plus. Clear. Okay. 1 plus 50. Okay, now 90. 305. Right.
If I could just mention that, they asked about the Harness dynasty. I mentioned to him that just this morning I saw a book that your brother put out. It was in 2002, New Year's, about entitled the Zaydi Rebbe. A little bit of history.
It's a nice book.
So it's part of my heart.
a nice book.
Doesn't mean we wouldn't have to have it from your perspective.
Yeah, one day. Just an interesting aside. We have gematrias. So gematria belongs to a part of drush where you can sometimes find some very amazing supportive kind of information from a gematria. So sometimes a gematria doesn't quite equal exactly. So they, if it's missing one, so they'll say with the kollel. One of the proofs of that is from this week's parsha, where Yaakov Avinu says, Ephraim u'Menashe keReuven v'Shimon yili. And if you take Ephraim and Menashe, it adds up, I think, to 725, and Reuven and Shimon adds up to 726. So when it says Ephraim and Menashe keReuven v'Shimon yili, so you see from there that if he said that they're equal, so it must be that there's a legitimate addition by adding the kollel.
Jewish mathematics.
What?
Jewish mathematics.
Jewish mathematics. They say that there was a Meshulach used to come to America every year to collect money for a kollel. So there was somebody who gave him generously, and then on one occasion, this Gevir came to Eretz Yisrael and he started looking for this kollel and he found that it was non-existent. So the following year when this Meshulach came to him, so the Gevir said to him, he says, your name adds up to Ganef. So he said, it doesn't calculate. He says, Himakolo. Very good. Okay, so what are we talking about today?
Should we talk about Mashiach?
I don't know anything about Mashiach.
Well, I'll throw it out there anyway. It says, Ad kiyav le'yoser shevet Yehuda al-mechaykek mi-bein ragla Ad kiyav le'yeshila le'yikasam. So it sounds like the person is saying Ad kiyav le'yeshila is that the monarchy will remain by Yehuda until Shilai, which refers to Mashiach. Because at that point, lo yikasamim, the nations will gather to Mashiach. But it just occurred to me, but wait, isn't Mashiach also from Yehuda?
Yeah.
So what does that mean?
So sometimes there's ad le'ad b'chlal, and sometimes there's ad and ad b'chlal. So here it's ad and ad b'chlal. It doesn't mean up until then and then. And then it stops. It means up to and inclusive. So here it would be, the ad would be inclusive.
And then what purpose would, if that's the case, then what purpose would there be in saying it at all? Like what's the, like you also Shevet Yehuda, period.
So I don't really know the answer, but it does raise some interesting. My stream of consciousness. The Meir Naim says that that the name Adam, the name of the first human being, has in it, it's an acronym. So it contains the first human being. Aleph is Adam. The Mem at the end of Adam represents Mashiach, and the Dalet represents David. So Adam represents, the name Adam has in it, in a certain sense, all of the main features of Jewish history. Adam, that man is created B'Tselem Elikim, the concept of Malchus, and the concept of Mashiach, of ultimate, absolute, perfect redemption. So he then goes on to say that to the extent that in reality every person is supposed to be Adam, so that he says that everyone carries a certain responsibility and a certain function of Mashiach, meaning that during the course of our lifetimes, if we conduct ourselves in a way which is consistent with the Rotzen of Hashem, that we in a way we have fulfilled our role in bringing about that ultimate redemption. So every person has a chelik in Mashiach. When Mashiach ultimately comes, just like at the beginning of time, when Hashem made Adam, we were all inclusive in Adam. All of our neshamas were in Adam. So too, at the end of time, at the end of history, when Mashiach comes, he will be inclusive of all of the things that we did to make the world a dira for Hashem, to bring to reveal Hashem's kavod, and to bring that kind of, in general, that kind of redemptive energy into the world. So when Mashiach comes, we will be part of what Mashiach can achieve. So it's not just the fact that but Ad Ki Yavai Shiloi means until such times as Melech HaMashiach, and Rashi says means Shailoi, which Shai means a word meaning gift. Where is it? Pasuk Yud. Melech HaMashiach she'amlucha shaloi. Melech HaGod Shailoi, and Shem Yavilu Shaila Meira, that the nations will bring gifts to the Melech HaMashiach. V'lo yikas amim, and to him will gather nations. Rashi says, asifas ha'amim, gathering of nations. And then he goes on to say, shenemar elav goyim yidreshu, like it says in the Novi Yeshaya, that the nations will all come to seek counsel and inspiration and direction from Melech Mashiach. So one of the things that sometimes we overlook, and legitimately because of our very painful history, is the fact that, most of us hold the nations of the world in disdain. We certainly don't think well of them, but we really have a very strong negative feeling about them. It's almost as though we think that somehow legitimately that the nations of the world shouldn't exist, but you see that's that at the end of time, the Navi says that the nations of the world are going to seek direction and inspiration. They're going to come to Eretz Yisrael. They're going to inquire how they can serve Hashem. And we say it in the davening, Hail Hashem, Kiru V'Shmai, praise Hashem, thank Hashem, Kiru V'Shmai, Kol His name, Haidiu V'Amim Ali Laisov. Make it known amongst the nations. Why do we want to make it amongst the nations? Who cares about the nations? The nations, we don't think well of them as far as we're concerned. And they could fall off the end of the earth. But that's not what Hashem wants. And it says that we're supposed to conduct ourselves according to the Torah, so that the nations of the world, I don't know where this is, Ki hi chachmaschem uvinaschem le'enei ha'amim, right? You should do it so that they will say, we will find out where it is, unless there's somebody who's about Koreh.
Thank you, Ray. Somewhere over there.
Where is it? In Ray, you think?
How were you not a Balkair? You left that one out.
I used to be about Korah once upon a time. I used to have a memory once upon a time. Mas.
You found
Where is it? It's in Devarim Daled. Devarim Daled. Okay, Devarim Daled. My Google found it faster than your Google. Devarim Daled. Okay, so here, let's what he says. You're supposed to. Look, I've taught you chukim and mishpatim like Hashem has commanded me. We should do them in the midst of the land that you come to inherit. Ushmatem v'asisem. So Rashi says shmatem means you're supposed to learn, because if you don't learn, then you don't know what to do. And it's important, because if you don't know what to do and you're doing something and you're not doing it right, then you're not going to achieve this ultimate result. So why? Because this is your wisdom and your understanding in the sight of the nations. They're going to hear all of these chukim, not the ones that are understandable, not the ones that the chukim. The amru rak am chacham v'noven agoy god lazeh. Rashi says, "B'zois techoshu chachamim revoinim le'nei am." This is how you're going to do it. Who cares? Why? Why do we care that we're supposed to do this so that the nations will say, like Chacham and Nova and Agud, let them not say. But why does it matter? But it matters, because if we conduct ourselves in a way in which where Mekadesh Shem Shemayim and the nations of the world see that the Ribono Shel Olam's Rotzain is manifest in our lives, our holy lives, in our lives, our happy lives, in our lives, our together, and all the brachis that this brings about. Then the nations of the world will seek to emulate what we're doing, and they'll come and want to learn from us. Not necessarily that they'll want to be zach misgael, but they'll serve HaKadosh Baruch Hu from within their own frame of reference, and they'll do what the Rebbe wants them to do. They'll fulfill their role, and they'll fulfill their role happily. So, the fact that at the end of time that what we're looking at is that we're supposed to be doing our chelik in Mashiach. Ad ki yovei shiloi v'lo yikah samim. Until such time as Mashiach comes and the nations will gather around him, and that will happen because we are the ones who brought Shiloi. We are the ones. The Yovei Shiloi is not just until that time, but until the Mashiach comes who we've brought. So that's in a certain sense the Yovei Chelik, because it's not just until he comes, but the fact that we brought him. There's another interesting note here. There's in the divine name. So we have the letters, the Yud, then we have the letter Hey, then we have the letter Vav, and then we have the last letter Hey. So we know that when Amalek struck Klal Yisrael, that they managed somehow to introduce into the ruchnius of our people something which reverberated all the way to the KSY and took an aleph away from the KSY, so it's case instead of KSY, and somehow created a barrier between the last two letters of Hashem's name, Ki Yod al Kes Ko. So there you see, there the Rashi over there says, case why does it say case and not KSY? Vaf Hashem nechlach l'chetzioi, and also the shame of Hashem was cut in half. Nishba Kodesh Baruch Hu, ein shmo yisholem, vein KSY sholem. Hashem took an oath that his name would not be whole and his throne would not be whole ad sheyimachar shmo shel Amalek, until such time as Amalek would be eradicated. So Amalek somehow corrupted the cosmos, in such a way that the Aleph is not evident in Hashem's throne, which is this world. This world is really Hashem's throne. Nor is the Vav of Hashem's name connected. So there's a Chazal that says that there are, I think, 5 places where Yaakov's name is spelled with a Vav, and Eliyahu Anovi's name, Eliyahu, is spelled without a Vav, so it's spelled Eliyah, and Yaakov is spelled with a Vav. So Chazal say that Yaakov Avinu took a Vav away from Eliyahu as collateral. He took it from Eliyahu's name, and I'm not like as though to say, I'm not going to give it back until you come to be mevaser the geula. That's a Chazal. Then he took the Vav away from Eliyahu 5 times, and it was introduced to him because Yaakov wants to hold that ransom, that Eliyahu is going to come and collect the Vav in his name by announcing to Klal Yisrael that Mashiach is coming. So one of the things that we're supposed to understand from that is that the Vav is a connect. It's a letter that implies connection. Whenever you want to say and, so it's this, this, and this. The letter Vav is always a letter that tells you that you're doing. Aaron, Moshe, Aaron, Vechur. It's the Vav is connected. So what? The reason that Yaakov took the letter Vav is because he wants to. The letter Vav connects the divine name, which has been, in a certain sense, has been fractured over here, and the Vav has been taken away, and the Shechina, which represents the last letter of Hey in Hashem's name. So it's in Golus with us, right? The Shechina is in Golus with us. Wherever we go, Shechina Yomayim. So the Vav says we're going to reconnect. We're going to reconnect the first 2 letters with the last 2 letters. And we say this a lot. I mean, those of you who say L'Shem Yichud Kiddush Shechinte, we want to reconnect Hashem with the Shechina, that expression of Hashem which travels with Klal Yisrael throughout their years in the diaspora, and it was with Klal Yisrael during the pogroms, and it was with Klal Yisrael in the bunkers, and it was in Klal Yisrael even amongst the Rishayim. Shechina is Ani Yeshena v'li bi'er. I'm asleep. The Shlomo Melech says, but my heart, the Nikuda Pnimis, is awake. The Rebbe Bunna Pshischa said a very kind of revolutionary thought. He said, we have this thing of Yeridas Haderes, that every generation that moves away from further away from Har Sinai is lesser. It's smaller than its predecessors. He said it's true. He says that we, as time goes on, we are smaller. He says, but the Nekuda Pnimius, that inner essence, he says, every passing generation, it becomes more and more pure. So he says that in a certain sense, our Nikuda Pnimius, because of the fact that time has passed and we've suffered all the things that we've gone through, that we have, there's this constant process of moving forward, and the neshamas are being purified and perfected. the Nekuda Pnimis, he says, in our time, is progressively more pure. So, we're working to make Hashem's throne whole, to make Hashem's name whole, and with the passage of time, as we move closer to Mashiach, we're really adding to, and hopefully accelerating that process. In this pasuk over here in Vayechi, where it says, Ad ki yom shiloi v'lo yikas amim. So according to the way Rashi is looking at this, Shiloi represents two words, Shai, presence, gift, Loi, to him, but Loi is spelled here with a Hey. So, if we connect it with what comes after it, it's Ad ki yovei Shiloi, until Mashiach comes, who, up until that point, is the Hey is not connected. The Loi, that's the next word, is with a Vav. So you have Ad ki yovei Shiloi v'loi, until Shiloi comes, and the Hey is reconnected with the Vav. Then it will be Yikas Amim, then the nations will gather, because then the Hashem's name will be whole again, and the throne will be whole again, and the nations of the world will throng to gather, and as the Novi Yeshaya says, to be inspired and to learn from Klal Yisrael. The Chuv and Nala base, how does it go? Har Hashem, something that, what? Something, huh?
Why is it why is it 5 votes?
Why 5 votes? And why 5? Why not 4 or 6? I don't know. Rav Hutner, not this one, the other one.
The real
No, you're the real one. Rav Hutner says, Gemara says in Tainus that Rabbi Yitzchak and Rabbi Nachman, I think, were eating together, and one of them said to the next, I think Rabbi Nachman said, Rabbi Yitzchak, give me a Dvar Torah. So he didn't answer him, and then you have a Gemara over here right there, handy. I give you a Tainus. It's Tainus. Thank you. Let's see if I can find it readily. Tainus. So here it goes. Rav Nachman and Rav Yitzchak have Yasvi b'Suda, so they were sitting in a Sida. Amar Rav Nachman and Rav Yitzchak, Lema Marmil said, do a Dvar Torah. That's not right. Usually in the middle of the Shabbos meal, your wife will say to you, do a Dvar Torah. You'd rather go to sleep, but you think you got to do it. Amalei. So he said, Hachi Amar Rabbi Yochanan. So he said to him, here's what Rabbi Yochanan said, in Mitzichin b'Suda. You're not supposed to talk. In the middle of the Suda, Shem Yakdim Kuna Levashit, because we're afraid that you're going to choke on them. We already did Sakona. Basa the Sods, after he finished eating, Amalei, Al Hamar Rabbi Yochanan. So then Rabbi Yitzchak did respond to Rabbi Nachman's request. And he said, here's what Rabbi Yochanan said, Yankov Avinu Loi Meis. Yankov never died. So they say, by the way, that one of the reasons that he didn't want to answer him is because the Dvar Torah he wanted to tell him was that Yankov Avinu Loi Meis. And if he would have told him that in the middle of the meal, then Rav Nachman would have been so upset, but he would have choked. Like, he said to him, amazed. So he right away said, "Well, you want to tell me that they eulogized him for nothing and that they embalmed him for nothing? And they buried him for nothing?" So he answered, "Mikra ni derish." I dash in the pasuk. Shenema v'ato al tirav the Yankiv. The Navi says that Hashem said, Klal Yisrael, and you, Yankiv, my servant Yankiv, do not be afraid. And Hashem said, "V'al techas Yisrael, and don't be broken Yisrael. Ki hineni Mashiach me'rochek, because I'm going to save you from afar. V'zarachem yeretz shivam, and your children from the lands of their captivity." So it says, don't be afraid, Yankiv, because I'm going to help you and your children. Maki shul so there's a hekesh between your children. Just like your children are alive, afu b'chaim. So Hutner says, the obvious question, he asked him a simple question like, did they eulogize him? Did they bury him for nothing? Did they embalm him for nothing? And what is the answer? It's like a real from answer, but I got it. I found it here in the posting. So what's the pshat? So he says that we live in this what we call the Olam Hasi. We live in a very physical world, but there are the true reality is much greater than our physical world. And just like in Torah, there are pshat, remez, drush, and Said, there are these 4 ways, these 4 levels, these 4 depths in Torah. There are also there are 4 realities that correspond. I think we had it in Nefesh Chaim also. There are 4 realities. Huh?
4 olamos.
4 levels in
Realms.
what?
Olamos.
4 olamos, and they correspond to Olam Asiyah is pshat, and then there's I don't remember how the other things were. The Soid is Atzilus, and I'm sure Drush and Remez are Bria and Yitzirah somehow. But anyway, so he says, so he said to him, but he died. They buried him. So he says, that's in this world, but in the Olam of Drash. In that world that corresponds to Drash, Yaakov is still alive. So what he said to him was, Yaakov bin Ulay Meis. What is it? So he said, if I draw this out of a pasuk in Drash, then in the Olam of Drash he's still alive. So the Hutner says that the letter Vav connects the letter, the Olam of Drash, the world of Drush to the world of Pshat. So he said that's what it means, that he took the Vav from Eliyahu as a mashkan, because the letter Vav is the connective letter. So right now we don't see the connection. But when Eliyahu Novi comes to announce the coming of Mashiach, then the Eliyahu Novi's Vav will be restored, and those worlds will be restored, and then we will. It'll be evident to us that Yankov will be in the light done. They said Yankov never really died.
It's possible that the 5, I'm asking why when Rashi brings out in the pasuk of Yaakov Malay, the 5 times could be the 5 parts of the neshama. In other words, all of those will
All of those will be connected.
So L'Shem Yichud, never really understood. But that's what I think that the purpose of L'Shem Yichud is before you do a mitzvah or something is to do a love to Miyachad L'Shem.
Right. That's it. It's like also that's part of our Mashiach, that chelik of Adam. We're all Adam. I think I told you this thing with if my memory was good, then I would know, but where Reb Zisha and Rabbi Melech were two brothers, and Rabbi Melech once said to Reb Zisha, he said to him, Zisha, he said to him, all of our neshamas were present in Adam. So when he ate of the Eitz Hadas, we were all there, you and I. So he said, so I know I didn't stop him, because I'm not so perfect. But you, Zisha, you're such a tummy. You're so wholesome. You said, why didn't you stop him? So Zisha said, I'll tell you why. He said, I could have stopped him. He said, but here was the Nachash, the Satan. Satan was there. He came up to Adam and he said to him, Adam, you can't imagine the excitement and the pleasure and the ecstasy that I'm holding in my clenched fist. You cannot imagine what I'm holding here. It's so awesome. So he said, so I could have said to Adam, don't fall for it. He said, but you know what would have happened? For the rest of history, Adam would have walked around and he would have been saying, I wonder what he had in his hand. So he said, why should Adam even think for one moment that the Satan had anything to offer? So I decided let him find out. So he said, so Adam did, and the Satan opened his hand. He said to him, I have nothing. He says, so Adam found out the hard way that the world of the Satan has nothing to offer. So we all have Adam. We all have Adam. We have Adam, and we have Malchus, and we have a contribution to make to the Bias Mashiach.
There's no shiur today.
There's no medrash here.
No, not tonight.
Actually, there is, but it's do it yourself.
Do it yourself, Medrash.
What are we titling today?
The letter Vav.
The Letter Vav. Yeah, I can call it that. The Letter Vav.
The shiur is brought to you by the Letter Vav.
Looking for the Letter Vav.
Looking for the letter. Well, we didn't really get to 5. Well, I guess we did. You got to 5.
Nefesh.
Nefesh, Ruach, Neshama, Chay, Yechida.
It's amazing how they had, before using the Google Hador, they were able to have that Rashi that he brings. This is the 5 times Canadian and 5 times, like they have it before print. To have the whole Torah Kula in it to be able to say the 5 times Eliyahu's not there with the like. I mean, that just that in itself. You hear that in one time.
There were people who could do it. There are people who could do that. There was a period of time. In which my grandfather, Bavavov, moved from Babov to Chibin. Classically, whenever a Hasidic Rebbe went to a town where there was a Rav, there was a declaration of war. They never got along. When my grandfather came to Chibin, so he went into the Chibin Rav, and he said to Chibin Rav, I want you to know, I'm here for a period of time. I don't want you to fret. It's going to be good. And he was very, very careful, very sensitive, not to do anything at all that would in any which way detract from the Chibin. Whenever there was any kind of a simcha, like a sandig, of a siddur kiddush, everything went into it. He made sure. So it was a sheva brachas, and the Chibin was there, my grandfather was there, and my grandfather said to one of his sons, to one of my uncles, go out and buy some mashka, like schnapps, whatever, mashka, some liquid. So Chibin said, we have mashka. So he said, there's a thesis that says that a guest is supposed to contribute mashka. So the Shabbat Rov went like this for a few seconds or a few minutes, and he said, "There's no such Tosfos." You know,
There's no such Tosfos?
no such Tosfos. Like, can you imagine? I mean, he was like, it was incredible. I mean, he was like, there's no such Tosfos in all of Shas.
Who was your grandfather? That should be
No, Jimmy Lov. He had to, like, my name said, it's a Tosfos. And he said, there's no such Tosfos in all of Shas. But, you know.
He scanned it.
So my grandfather said, okay. But nonetheless, let him go get some mashka. So he got to it. So he brought some mashka. Years later, Chabina Lov was no longer in Europe. He was here in America, and he was saying a shiur in the Chabina Yeshiva. And he burst into tears. So he said to what happened. He said, here's the Tosfos. Here's the Tosfos that the world referred to. He said, I missed it. He said, but imagine, he said, how great that man was. He said he was sitting there. He could have told me where it was. And I said, there's no such Tosfos. And he didn't want to embarrass me. He burst into tears. But you know, to be able to do that, like just close your eyes and go through all of Shas and say, no.
Is that what you do when you close your eyes?
Huh?
Is that what you do when you close your eyes?
When I close my eyes, I'm praying.
One second, up just right behind his last bottom. Oh, you got it? Yeah. Okay, now and now we're gonna do one more thing here. I'm gonna share this bonus story. Bonus story for
Everybody loves that.
yeah.